Hey guys, what's up? Nico from Team Hydroflare here, and I'm here to bring you guys an April 1st ban list discussion, a confirmed ban list discussion. One of the first ones that are going to be out, so I hope you guys are able to listen up because I just saw the ban list about half an hour ago, probably from the time that this video will be uploaded. For those of you guys that are interested, I'll post the link in the description down below. So, let me just kind of get into like some of what I saw. Obviously a big deal for this meta. Coach Soldier Wolfbark got hit to 1. That'll, in my personal opinion, I think that'll slow down a lot of 4 axis. Not necessarily the 3.5 axis, because they didn't hit Tanky, they didn't hit any of the 3s. I've seen a lot of 3.5 axis decks do really good with only one Wolfbark checked in. They didn't hit Bear, so they didn't hit Gorilla, they didn't hit any of the XYZs, so the deck is still live, in my opinion. In my opinion, Fire Fist has always been a viable deck. It's always been really consistent, and it's always able to draw what it needs to during the grind game, whether it's a Bear or a Tenki, or even a Gyoko for a safe play, or if it's just some sort of back row. But Wolfbark to 1's definitely going to slow down the 4-axis build. They might have to be running Call of the Haunted in place of Wolfbark just to kind of get their plays off easier, or maybe they'll just replace them with something else. Off the top of my head, I can't really think of anything, but Wolfbark to 1, that's what a lot of people were asking for. That's what a lot of people thought. The next thing on the list that I'm looking at, a really big deal in my opinion, is that Morphing Jar and Morphing Jar number 2, they both got banned. So there's kind of the end to the empty jar mill era. I mean, mill decks are going to be dead without Morphing Jar. And I think they did that because Morphing Jar Tube's excavatability was sometimes just too good, especially for the Sylvans. Going into Sylvans, though, they actually helped a lot of that stuff, I think. They unbanned Primal Seed, so unbanning Primal Seed is definitely going to help out the Sylvans, and I think because they did that, just to kind of make the Sylvans not too top-tier next-level meta, they had to get rid of Morphing Jar number 2, especially because of its excavating ability. If you're running some insane, like, low monster thing, you could just excavate everything. It's essentially, I guess that's kind of how you could think about it. Especially, you could just get all of their effects off. So, I thought it was kind of different that they banned Morphing Jar. I really never thought that they'd ban it. I know mill decks, everybody thinks that they're annoying, and everybody has trouble with them, but I could never really picture them banning Morphing Jar and getting rid of mill decks completely. I know a lot of people ran Morphing Jar in Dark World also, so it's going to be interesting to see what they replace with that. They might just throw in the Archfiend cards definitely if they weren't running those earlier, but aside from that, they might just run, I think it's called Archfiend Harris, or they could just main a deck Devi or something, because I know a lot of Dark World people don't side it. The next, one of the most important things on the list, in my opinion, aside from Coach Soldier Wolfbark, was that they limited Mermail Abyss Gundy. I still don't think, just like Fire Fist, just even though Wolfbark's limited, I don't think Fire Fist is dead, and I think the same with Mermail. Even though Gundy's limited, I don't think Mermail's dead, essentially. A lot of people would only run 2 Gundy, so there's only 1 card that you have to replace. But even if you ran 3, I think you're going to be good with Call of the Haunted. My teammate Jose, you guys have seen some of his videos, his deck profiles and stuff, but he was saying that if you were to run Call of Haunted and Mermail and you were about to go for an XYZ play and your opponent could see it, then you'd kind of be baiting out the MST. And if you bait out the MST, especially if it's their only one, then you essentially just stop something that could stop the sphere. So his wording on it was basically like the opponent might just waste the MST on the call instead of the sphere, and that would give Mermails like another element to completely go off on, and would be like, ha, I fooled you again, and then they just activate the sphere. So, in my opinion, that's definitely like something that could be replaced with Gundy. They might just run 2 to 3 Turge instead. Turge could actually be kind of good. I think the fact that they 1 didn't hit Sphere and 2 didn't hit Lind, it's definitely gonna give the deck its explosiveness. The 7s are perfectly fine, so Draco Sack and Big Eye are still really good XYZs that you could be running in that deck. But aside from that, I still think that this next format's going to have a lot of fire and water. Fire, 4-axis, I feel like people are going to try to make it work because a lot of people really liked 4-axis, and in my opinion, it was the more consistent of the two. But 3.5-axis is definitely still going to be doing good, especially since, like I said, none of the spells are hit, and I mean, none of their monsters got hit, really. Sadly, in my personal opinion, Neospatian Grandmal's still at 1. I really don't see why it's at 1. I don't think it's that crazy of a thing. But what might slow the 3.5-axis build down, talking about that, is they limited Rekindling. Rekindling at 1 will basically slow down a lot of things. It'll slow down Laval Quasar, which some people like to mess around with. It'll slow down the 3.5-axis because they, in the grind game, if they top deck that, then their play would just be ridiculously explosive. So, sorry, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. The 3.5-axis, in my opinion, it's not as consistent. I mean, Leopard and the Spirit play is obviously really good. You get the Tenki, the Tensu, whatever you want to go for, really. But a lot of them have 200 defense, and I think when they made that, they obviously had Rekindling in mind. I mean, Konami's not stupid as much as we like to think they are, and as much as we say that they're crazy and ridiculous. Konami's not dumb at all. Konami always knows what they're doing, just like they know that they're going to want to support Sylvans, so they're going to unban Primal Seed, but they don't want it to be too broken. So Morphing Jar number 2, hit. I'm sorry, unlimit Primal Seed. I think I said unbanned. But 3.5-axis, even with Rekindling ban, I still think it's going to be the better of the 2-axis this coming format. They obviously have access to Blaster since none of the rulers were hit. They're still limited. So without Rekindling, I don't think it'll be that big of a deal. They might also run Call of the Haunted. I feel with Gundy hit and Wolfbark hit, that Call of the Haunted, it's seeming like it's going to see a lot more play in this format, in my opinion, you guys. Maybe I'm just crazy and maybe I'm completely wrong, but if I were them, I think I would test out Call of the Haunted, especially since you can bait something that for fire could destroy your Tenki, or for water could destroy your Sphere. The next thing that I've seen on the list that is kind of important, in my opinion, is they limited Infernity Barrier. That card is too good. Especially, like, I don't know about you guys, if you've ever gone up against a good Infernity player who was able to drop their hand, Special Summon Archfiend 5 times in one duel because they got 2 Stygian Patrol and like double Necromancer or something, but on one turn, you could definitely go explosive, and pretty much if you have a face-up attack Archfiend with Infernity Break and 3 Infernity Barrier, you don't even give your opponent a chance to play. I've ran Infernities myself, and when you get that moment, you're just like, okay, I win now. No matter what you're going to do. Dark Hole, that's fine. Infernity Barrier. You're going to summon that. Okay, on declaration of attack on Infernity Break, you're going to Lance. That's fine. My Archfiend's at 1800. It would take a really good play to get a monster with higher than 2600 out to stop a... Because Lance would be the only thing that would save that. And obviously, I think you would need a monster's effect for that to pull that off. And at that point, it would just get Infernity Barrier, definitely. Now, for the way I see this next format going, I think there's going to be 3 decks that are going to be up there, like up everywhere. Kind of like how in this past format we saw water and fire everywhere. I think this format, it's definitely going to be Hieratic Rulers, since Seal of Convocation was hit to 2, I believe. But I think they can play around that. Especially like with the Tefnuit and the Dragon Shrine and the ability of the rulers alone that they can search. I think Hieratic Rulers are definitely going to be on the rise. It seems like Seal of Convocation is the only thing that really got hit from that deck. They're still at 3 Tefnuit, they have 3 Shu, 3 Atum. So I definitely think that that's something that they're going to be going off on. Hieratic Rulers, we've all seen it. Especially if you play competitively, we've all seen it. It's ridiculously explosive. It's explosive to the point where it's just unbelievable, really. Especially, like, they just have that REDMD play, the Atum plays, the double Gaia and plus the fact that they could go Draco Sack if they really wanted to. I've seen a lot of Heretic Ruler decks go for Draco Sack and a Scrap Dragon play, and it's just ridiculously good since Draco Sack wouldn't die. But I also see Boojins. They've already all they've already been tier 1, but this format, I think they're definitely going to be tier 0 in May when Primal Origins comes out and they get their new support. People are definitely going to be running those cards, and if you don't get a Light Imprisoning or Skill Drain or something that could stop the Boojins, then I mean they'll definitely wreck you. I know at ARG Las Vegas, Boojins won first place at that tournament. So Boojins are obviously really good. We've all known that. And for the third deck that I think is going to be definitely up there, it's going to be Geargia. Geargia didn't get hit at all. Geargia Gear is at 3. All the Geargia monsters are at 3. I know a lot of people wanted to see Geargia Accelerator hit to 1 or maybe even banned. That didn't happen. They still got their 3 armor, their 3 accelerator. They have the Karakuri engine to run with it. And they have their explosive synchro plays, obviously, where they could just go Karakuri, Shogun, Bure, then Burrito. Then they can even go Stardust to protect it if they really wanted to. I've also seen a lot of Geargia decks actually have the ability to make rank 7s. Obviously, if they go for 2 Bure, then they could pull off a Draco Sack play. And since that's Machine, it kind of just goes along with them. But Geargia also has their support coming out. I don't know when that's exactly supposed to come out, but I'm pretty sure they have a Stratos coming along also. A Stratos-like card, just to search, but that's definitely going to be something that's explosive. They can go into rank 4s really easy, and Exciton Knight's not on the list like a lot of people really wanted it to. So if they're really in a lot of danger, they can if they have Geargia Gear, your opponent can just go crazy as you want. You just Geargia Gear into an Exciton, and I really don't see anything that they can do. Exciton, it's a completely different topic. I think that you should always have an answer to it. Otherwise, you kind of just left yourself open and like exposed in a sense. But that's a completely different topic. Those are the 3 decks though that I'm seeing getting up there. I'm actually hoping that the Sylvans are going to do really good. I've seen a lot of people playing them. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos about that deck. And I've definitely dueled a lot of people using Sylvans on Dueling Network or YGO on Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro when I'm using my Light Sworns with the OCG build. I definitely see a lot of Sylvans everywhere. But even the TCG build right now is actually pretty good, in my personal opinion. But, yeah. So, in terms of the ban list, a lot of things didn't get banned that people wanted to get banned, and that's the next thing I want to get into. A lot of people wanted to see the Dragon Rulers banned. In my personal opinion, Dragon format's had its chance. It's had its time. It's ridiculously overpowered. We all know that. But I think in the sense, since Fire and Water's topping everywhere, that was Konami's main priority. And I think they actually, in a sense, it seems like they're encouraging us to play these Dragon Ruler decks. That they want us to use them because, I mean, they're still pretty new, in my opinion. Card Destruction's gone and stuff, but there's other ways to like dump your hand to the grave if you want to banish stuff for the dragons, or if you want to get some effects. There are a lot of cards that could stop them, obviously, but if you're not able to draw the right card at the right time, because a lot of the cards that, in my personal opinion, can stop them, like that could stop Heretic Rulers, like Soul Drain and Light Imprisoning, you're not always guaranteed to draw, especially since they can go for a very explosive play on the first turn. So that neither of those dragons got hit. Another thing that I know a lot of people wanted to get hit. I know a lot of people wanted Dragged Down to get hit, but Dark Worlds haven't been really doing that much. I know they won first place at that one regional, but aside from that, they haven't really been doing much. Dark Worlds are a really fun deck to play. I agree. I wouldn't call them tier 1 though. Maybe tier 1.5. I'd give them around the same level of Prophecy, of the average Prophecy player, because there are some really good Prophecy decks out there. Prophecy's still hit the same way that it was. Nothing about that changed. A lot of people wanted Sacred Sword of 7 stars to go to 2, but obviously with the dragons still at 1, that's definitely not going to happen. Eradicators still at 1, and speaking of the Dark Worlds. But this format definitely seems like it's going to be based around Heradic Rulers, Boojins, and Giria, possibly Sylvans, depending on how good they do. It seems like Giria and Heradic Rulers are obviously very explosive. I feel like the format's going to get a bit faster. Boojins are going to definitely have some control over that, though, and they're able to just sit on Yamato and Kaiser Coliseum, therefore just stopping Heradic Rulers from exploding right away if they're not able to come up with a solution to that. So, yeah, guys, if you feel like I missed out on anything, or if there's any topics that I didn't touch, or if you think, whatever, even your feelings about this upcoming format, just let me know. Drop a comment down in the thing below. For those of you guys that want to see the Forbidden list, I'll definitely make sure to put it in the description in case you haven't gotten a chance to see it yet. So, yeah, that's the video, guys. Make sure to comment your thoughts, like the video, and subscribe. I know this is going to be one of the first videos out there, so thanks for checking it out. And this is Nico from Team Hydroflare, signing out.